Welcome to Get After It with Nashy, brought to you by Ace Property Management and Sales.
Yeah, Eric, I really appreciate you joining me because I've been following you for a while from over here in Edinburgh, Scotland, and I'm sure you get people reaching out from all over the world because one, the fitness sessions that you put on or the training methods that you put online, they're I'm able to do them. You know, I can relate to everything that you are doing. But the main reason that I wanted to get in touch and just to hear your story is the change you've made to your life and everything, your body, your mindset, your nutrition over the last, am I right in saying sort of 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, really, if we were to put probably closer to 3 years,
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, three and change. Yep.
Yeah, because in those images you put on of yourself 3 years ago to where you are now physically and the way the condition that you're in, it's remarkable. And it's clearly through dedication, you've given time to it and you've completely committed. Can you take me back a bit what your lifestyle was like? Because I've got a lot of listeners that I'm 37, I'd say I'm in reasonable shape. I can run, I can lift weights, I can do bits and pieces, but I train for dad life. I train for my kids. I train to keep healthy. I want to be able to do things for them and with them for as long as I possibly can. So can you tell us a bit about your journey and how you sort of got to where the position was that you said, I've got to make a change?
For sure. And just like you, I'm 39 years old, turn 40 in April of next year. And I've checked out your stuff, man. I know you're, it's not called Get After It podcast for you're no slouch. That is for sure, man. You are getting after it. But my journey is not unique in any way. It's, in fact, it's a very relatable story, which is, why I tried to authentically tell it the best I can.
Yeah.
Just a little bit younger than you are now at 36 years old is kind of when things were at call it a fork in the road. Really could have gone to a really, really dark place, maybe the ultimate place, or where I'm at today. And the physical changes are one thing, but it's really the internally how you feel, that inside and out transformation is really what it's all about. And that started at 36. And I was trying on a pair of pants, business slacks.
Yeah.
And I just bought them, size 38. I just had them hemmed. I knew I was getting bigger, and so I always had my clothes hemmed exactly to my size, because I just was never comfortable in my own skin, both physically and mentally. And so I'm trying on these new 38 pants, and they're too tight. I couldn't get in them at all, and I just bought these pants, and so I'm staring at a size 40, and at that time, I catch myself in the mirror, and it was that kind of moment when it was just a showdown with myself. I don't think I've ever stared into myself for that lengthy period of time, but it was just, the waterworks are coming. It's like, who I couldn't figure out who I was. I didn't know who I was staring at. And that moment could have been an eternity. It could have been hours. To me, I don't know what that time period was, but I just knew that something had to change. It just, every day it was, didn't matter if it was Monday through Sunday, come home 5 o'clock, have cocktails to unwind, because that was the only way that I knew how to cope with any sort of level of stress. And those cocktails would turn into 3 or 4, And I mean, who knows? It could have turned into a party for myself any given night, and wake up in the bushes around the driveway, or on the driveway, or nowhere near my house. It could have been one of those nights. But it was just cyclical, I'd find myself always coping in those ways, and then I'd be binge eating from those experiences, either as a result of drinking or as a result of trying to, just feel better about something. And I just had no control. What it comes down to, I had no idea who I was and like what I was capable of doing. Yeah, I've been insecure my entire life. And it goes all the way back to, and I try to write a little bit about it through social media. I haven't really got great at this particular part, but it goes all the way back to early childhood trauma and of being abandoned as, okay, never knowing who my mom was. Never met her. In fact, the first time I ever met her, she was in the casket. And, learning to unpack that experience and figuring out what abandonment does to just a wee lad.
Yeah.
Is it's a big deal. And I had to learn about that finally through professional help, 35 years later after that trauma took place. And so I was always just hiding from myself who I was and where I was going and what I was doing, afraid of myself. And all the way back up to 36 years old, and come time to that period, and man, Tony, I didn't think I was gonna see 40. Like I actually thought that those cards were not in my stack anymore. Didn't think it, man. It's just I didn't see a future. Period. And so after that showdown with myself, I took a walk on a treadmill, and a local YMCA right down the road, walked a mile, and that was it, man. I mean, I went back to that building about the same time every single day for a year and a half. Not necessarily exercise every single day, but to just stay committed to that process, being around those people who also wanted to change. The first 4 months of that or so, I was just trying to remember some things that I did in the past 20 years ago that worked for me exercise wise. And, still, because I was working out, I truly felt that I had earned, and I could still crush, double IPAs and crush pizzas, and that just wasn't the case anymore. I mean, you could, I was burning like maybe a couple hundred calories from my whimsical YMCA workout, and then thinking that I could consume, 4,000 to 8,000 calories on a weekend from whatever. I mean, man, that's not working.
No, that won't work.
I finally got some help. 4 months into it, I got some mentors, and I listened to my wife. Started actually adopting more of a balanced diet, and that's when things kind of started to click.
Did you have a father figure when you were younger? Did you have any men in your life that sort of tried to point you in the right direction, or were leading you down sports or things like that as a young man?
I did have a father figure. He was hard. We have a very estranged relationship right now. And as hard as he was or is still on me, just, generationally, his dad and then his dad and his dad, just brutal.
Okay.
So he we had fun times, but it wasn't in a sense of guidance. I To this day, I'm not even really sure what the parent child relationship looks like. Through professional help, I've gotten some semblance of that, and trying to break the chain,
Yeah.
because I think that's a big deal as I try to pass on, something different to, my little one who's 6 years old. Um, so, man, but I did have a father figure. We're still working on that though.
What was it like with your wife when at 36 you hit those crossroads? Was she surprised? Was it dramatic for her when you said I have to change? When she saw the waterworks coming down, when she saw you crying, when she saw you sort of screaming for help, maybe did she see it coming, or?
She saw it coming a long time, and honestly, I'm not even sure why I'm even blessed to still be in that relationship with her, because I damn near did destroy that work relation. I mean, every good thing that I had was destroyed by my behavior. But she stayed with me, and she knew it was coming all this time, and she's brilliant. Maybe, she, I guess hedging her bets that maybe I would come to that moment in life.
She loved you. She loved you. It's clear, and and
Yeah.
it sounds like that was probably a great day for her when you realized you had to make a change.
It was, I learned throughout that process though that, and one thing I teach in our program now is that even when people are ready for the change, sometimes when they become, when you are no longer the dependent in a relationship, and like you are actually, that's a big deal to some people. Like they like being the care, they're not ready to
Yeah.
relinquish that role. And but she was really excited when I finally started to listen to her 10 years later, that maybe I should eat a cucumber every now and then, and a couple leaves of spinach,
Yeah.
instead of 80 pizza rolls was an average dinner. I mean, it was bad, man. It wasn't good.
And what about your career then? What were you doing for work?
So I represented an elevator company,
Oh,
worldwide elevator company. There's a few of them. I worked for one of the big ones at that time. It's called ThyssenKrupp. That's how we pronounce it here in the United States, and they're out of Germany. ThyssenKrupp.
yeah.
To any listeners that maybe would know that name. Steel conglomerates, and some people put together some stuff. And
Okay.
anyway, so I was working for them, representing a factory, traveling all over the United States and Canada. So I was on the road 4 or 5 weeks at a time. I'd leave Monday, come back Thursday, be home for the weekend, and that was, and I actually loved that job. Like I really loved being in that position. But I got fired from it.
Really? Why?
Yeah,
Because of
I got
behavior?
fired from that. Well, oddly enough, I was always, I could have gotten fired a couple of times for behavior, but I had great bosses who just continued to see potential in me. And our team was small. It was just 3 or 4 of us, and they dissolved our team.
Hmm.
But I mean, technically I was fired, but in reality they dissolved the team. But I loved working with the people who I visited in various cities. I was a mentor to young kids, sales guys coming out of college, and I was working with them, teaching them about the products from our factory and how to sell and things like that. I took a lot of what I learned, and I was in that career for 10 years. Took a lot of what I learned out of that and apply it from a sales perspective, but also from a mentoring perspective. Had I not been such an a-hole, maybe it could have been a rock star at that job. but wasn't to be.
But looking at you now, you're worlds away from elevator salesman. You know,
Yeah.
How is that transition once? Because obviously, did you immediately set up a business, or how long did it take you to become Eric Champ, the trainer, the online coach, the person you are now? Was it obviously a couple of years to change your body, but did you start changing your mind at the start, or did you have to realize that, God, my body's going to stay consistent, I have to work on my mind? What was that sort of process like?
Yeah. So, the mental piece came later, like catching up to the physical body changing. And that really never, that never took a big leap until I actually started seeing professional help to work on that early childhood trauma, to realize that I'm not an evil person, that I don't have to feel bad for the things that I've done. In a sense, there are reasons, there are dots that connected to that, and so I had to work through that. But once I figured out that, okay, physical body's coming along, like I could do this. I'm 30, at that point I'm almost 38 years old. The mental side is coming right there with me. And I'm like, okay, people are out there that need to know that it's never too late to make this change. 36 to 38 years old, that's not, you're not close to the grave by any means, but that's semi late in age to change your life around at that point. And I was like, I have to pay this forward. And so I opened up the Instagram account at that time. But the idea for me was I had this gym on wheels. In fact, you see it every day in the post. It's what's behind it.
It's awesome.
It's Transformer. This thing unfolds. It's pretty wild. And I was taking that to people's homes, businesses, parks, to take fitness to their front step, to their front door, to take out any,
excuses.
Excuse of no time, too expensive, that sort of stuff. And I was working well, because I didn't want to go work inside of a big box gym. I certainly didn't want to open up a gym. So that's where the mobile gym idea was born. So I got this, and it's flying all over the city. It's working awesome, just to see if that business model would work. And it did. And then 2 weeks to stop the spread came in March of last year. And at that point I'm thinking, gosh, this is like perfect time. I needed a break. Like I was tired, towing that gym around, essentially setting up a gym and breaking it down multiple times a day. As awesome as it was, I was tired, plus my own training at the time. And I had this one guy who kept asking me, he's like, Eric, do you have an online program? He asked me like every week. I was like, no, yeah. I didn't even know that could be effective, or how to even administer that. And then, during that 2 weeks to stop the spread, I was like, you know what, man, I'll take you on. I took him on. I had no idea what I was doing from an online perspective. He lived in California. I was in Texas. Took him on, and he was my only client. I don't know if you've seen Jerry Maguire, the movie, but he had one client. That was that. Like I talked to him for hours, all the time, just giving him everything that I possibly had. And we had amazing results, incredible results. He wrote a good review, and that was it. And now we coach folks on every continent on Earth right now, with the exception of Antarctica. Now we're just growing and learning that platform can be wildly successful if you have the right team in place to be able to relate to people.
For what you've done in the space of 3 years, in the way, over 200,000 followers on Instagram and some celebrity followers and all these sorts of things, it's just, that's why for me, where I am here in Scotland, I just wanted to speak to you. I was like, how's this guy done this? Look at what, because you put the pictures up of what you look like, and you you talk about how much alcohol you would drink, and then you look at you now, and it's like, you've been sort of chiseled out of stone. You're in ridiculous condition, and what you're your own poster. You're your own marketing tool, which obviously will attract people in, and then you've got to bring them into the net and then capitalize, turn them into clients. But it's an inspiring story in such a short time. It's crazy.
Appreciate that, man. It's I don't know. In terms of
what are the pitfalls? What's been difficult? Because that story of one client and then got a good review. Where have you must have had days where you're thinking, is this going to work? Am I going to get anyone else? Where am I going with this? What are the tough days?
Well, I tell you, the hardest part is as we're growing right now in the stage that we are in, continuing to be a creator on social media, and running a pretty sizable operation from the business perspective, plus managing brand relationships. It's like 3 full-time jobs, and that is really hard to do. And there are days I'm like, am I even doing this right? Because a lot of folks, unless you are, just elite business savvy, tend to at least start as like, I'm just going to be a creator on social media, and I'm just going to manage relationships and sell through that. And that is that. And you can live within that. You can do that, but trying to create a brand and a message and an actual coaching business at the same time as doing everything else, that's tough. And there are days where I feel like it's not manageable. And if anyone's listening right now, there will be a time when you realize like something is not going to happen for you. Like you're not going to be able to do everything perfectly. And I just went through a stretch. Yeah, there was just a couple weeks ago, I didn't log on to any social media for 7 days or longer. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but not even one login anywhere, just completely gone. And I had to do that because we were in the midst of releasing so many projects on our side that I had to focus on those and keep our existing clients happy. Like we still need to have a world-class program, and I cannot focus on social media, even though that at this current stage that social media, as I'm sure in some senses, literally puts food on the table for my family. Like that is where we get 100% of our business, 99.9.
Yeah.
And we're starting to get referrals, and we're bringing people in from elsewhere now. And so it's like crazy. It's just like, how could you possibly go away from social media for 7 days when that's your livelihood? The answer is just that I just couldn't do it all. But I could have stayed up till 1 a.m., 2 a.m. to work on those projects, but I would have zero work life family balance, and I would be tired all the time, and that wasn't going to work. I will not sacrifice work life balance. That's something that I just don't cross the line. I'm always going to be there at the dinner table, and I'm always going to be there over the weekends and shutting it down as much as I possibly can.
Yeah. And what you said earlier, your daughter's 6 years old. What are you like as dad with a guy 3 years ago to the guy you are now?
That's a tough question, man. Because in reality, there were a lot of times I put all of us at risk, just being who I was. 10 a.m. at the pool, cocktails in hand. It's not like the pool's in our backyard. It's either on vacation or at a neighbor's house or a community pool or something like that. That's just a small example, but that's not safe. Just being around in her presence, intoxicated, not always to where I'm stumbling over. My wife gets on me for this sometimes. Wasn't always just I couldn't see out of my left eye, you know. But a lot of times it was, and I was just, I was just able to function in that mindset to where I just was just lucky enough for 3 years of her life to where nothing happened. But God, man, like it could have been something totally different. But I wasn't there for her, like as much as I should have been. Like even if I was sitting right in front of her, I wasn't there. Just gone, and I missed smiles. I like, if there was something that she did or said or just looked at me in a way that like I should have caught that, I didn't see any of that. Nothing. So I missed that. And to me, through all of this, that is the number one thing that has happened in my life, is to where now I do see those things. Yeah. And if there is a crinkle, if there is if she says, like, if she makes up a word, right? Like I'm seeing that and hearing that and remembering that. And she, most importantly, knows that I'm seeing that. And that's everything. So, gosh, man, I'm not sure if that dug into really what you were getting after, but
it did. You're now the dad that she wants.
It's funny because I talk about this from time to time, is that how I often say, like, motivation is overrated,
right?
And because it comes from when you have a kid, if you're a mom, you're a dad, all of a sudden you're expected to be super dad or super mom, like just instantly. You're just, there is a sense of you that would probably do anything, and that comes to standing in front of a train to make sure no harm comes that way. You will do that. But your day-to-day actions of who you are, like when you come home from the hospital, you're still that same person that you were when you went to that hospital.
Yeah. So
if you're sleeping like crap, eating like crap, not doing anything right, terrible habits, like that's exactly the person that you're still, like, that doesn't change.
Yeah.
And so that's where, if the one thing on earth that's going to motivate you more than anything else to make a life change, is becoming a father or a mother. And if that doesn't happen, then there's no other motivation out there that can push you to change your life.
I hear you. What about resistance from friends or people you would go drinking with, buddies? They look at you now and think, "My God, he's done it." You've got there. But what was it like at the start when you had to say, "No, I'm not going," or "That's not for me"?
Well, I was lucky in that sense that I had already moved around a couple times to where at this point the pocket of friends that I had was well, it's not necessarily true. I have a group of buddies that I like to go on the boat with a lot, that I couldn't really do that, but that was also more so of a result of just being so busy focusing on getting ready, for the business. So I did have to say a little bit no to that, but that was later on. In the early stages, I didn't have to really say no to what, I didn't have too much peer pressure from friends in that respect. There was instances of like networking, work early on, trying to reduce some of that stuff. I just decided to take a leadership position within myself of say, like, I'm just gonna do me, and I'm gonna just drink this water, and maybe some others will follow along with it. I'm not gonna make a big deal of it, but that's just what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, it can be awkward. It's tough. I've not I say I've not had a drink. I've not been drunk or hungover for the best part of 3 years now. And that's not, I wasn't at a level
It's
that was
amazing.
that was ridiculous. I've not made this because I had a problem or anything like that. I just couldn't stand the hangovers with my kids. I've got
Yeah.
3 kids under 7, and that's
Yeah.
busy. You know what it's like with kids. And for me, it's just a thing. It's not a statement. It's not anything. I just, at my stage, late 30s, hangovers were killing me. I played a lot of rugby back in the day, did a lot of rugby tours, did a lot of bus trips, a lot of things with the guys, and it's all great. And I loved it. I don't regret it.
Yeah.
But now it's just a sort of line in the sand. And I'm trying to be productive with my mornings. I'm trying to be up and ready for the kids. And it's not all the time. Can't do it every time.
Yeah.
Don't get it right every
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah.
I do sort of duck out of big boozy nights or invitations to things where I think that that's just not the environment I want to be in.
Yeah.
I got to take
Yeah.
myself, and I like what you said there. You put yourself in a leadership position for your own life.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great way to look at it.
And just hope that, maybe others will, we're in the middle of this. We just launched it yesterday, our first inaugural 30-day challenges.
Uh-huh.
And one of them is called the Weekend Warrior. And, I was a 7-day a week warrior, but then I finally got it to weekend warrior, but that's still not cutting it, enough to make serious change.
Mm-hmm.
Because you go Monday through Thursday, Monday through Friday, crushing it, doing awesome, but then come Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's just all hell breaks loose, and you're stuck in this cycle forever. Come Monday, you're like, damn, why did I just do all that? You restrict so hard, and you eat nothing but kale and water for 4 days, but then come Friday, you're so hungry from that restriction, you're just like, the hangover's gone, everything's gone, and you're just like, oh, F it. You have a cocktail, turns into 6, and it turns into pizza burger night, and and that's unfortunately that's just a cycle. So we just started that challenge called the Weekend Warrior to help folks break away from that cycle.
It's hard without getting too much information for free from you, because I know that's what your business is. But what are some, you got hints and tips? What should people be doing? Because that is such a common cycle that you screw the nut during the week, you get to Friday, and God, it's over.
Yeah,
You're eating the kids'
for
birthday
sure.
cake. I used to be really guilty. The kids wouldn't finish their dinner. I would finish their plates. I would finish their food. Then I'd go and eat my own dinner. You're eating double, triple portions. And then I think I'll go on the battle ropes. I'll run. I'll do something. I'll stay fit. But I'm getting it wrong. I think sometimes that, and I'm still guilty of this, that I'll eat bad, but I think it's okay because I'm going to train. It doesn't add up.
That's a tough one because it's transactional.
Yeah.
And that's, if we have to live with that in our head for all that time, that we're going to do X is okay because we're going to do Y. We'll eat the chicken nuggets and mac and cheese plus our dinner because we know we're going to hit the battle rows for 15 rounds. And, that's tough to be in that forever, that yin and yang. Specifically 2 things on the, crushing it during the week, but you're the weekend warrior. How do you break out of that? Number 1, come out Monday, have yourself a decent meal. Like, go ahead and just crush it. Have another burger. Have something. Break that mold. Don't restrict yourself so hard. Go ahead and get directly into the meal leading up, to start the week off. And next thing you know, you start planning for, I'm going to, no matter what, I'm going to have at least 1,000 calories at lunch and 1,000 calories at dinner. What like those are like really hearty portions for most males and females, and that knowing exactly what you're going to eat, and come Friday and Saturday, you're not starving, right? You're not binging for something else because you have brought it in there. Go ahead and just go all in, continue to eat. It's a short-term setback, but if you do that for a couple weeks, before long, you won't find yourself always binging at the end of the week. And same thing with alcohol. Don't, have a glass of wine on a Tuesday. Have wine down Wednesday. Have a couple of glasses of wine. Specifically, the way that we coach some of our clients is we look at Thursday as a day to really prepare for the weekend. Go on a date night. I always advise clients, hey, take your wife out, take your girlfriend out on Thursday nights. It's a perfect night. You go out, have yourself a nice meal, get yourself, a couple of glasses of wine, have a good time. Be merry with the wife. Like really enjoy that experience. Who knows? You wake up Friday, you're like feeling kind of full, but it was a good night. Everything was good because it was with your significant, the people who matter most to you.
Yeah.
And you're not coming, swinging for the fences come Friday. Right? You can begin to buffer some of that out. So the tip is for that is to bring some of that weekend stuff early on into the week. Don't worry, otherwise, if you continue to restrict yourself so hard, you'll never find yourself breaking out of that mold. It'll be really challenging.
Yeah,
and then on the physical side of things, man, we have, for our weekend warriors, we have our most challenging workout on Sunday. It leads up to it. Friday, pretty tough. Saturday, medium tough. Sunday, it's like, man, I hope I just make it tough.
Yeah.
Then come, leading up to, so it's like one of those things. It's like, okay, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna consciously think about what I'm doing so I can actually get to that workout and complete it Sunday. Monday is a natural rest day, and you survive Sunday, and you come into Monday and you're thinking, man, I feel freaking phenomenal. I probably saved $100 from not drinking all over the weekend, being like, and I feel awesome, and I did those workouts.
Yeah.
That's one of the tips. Another thing is, specifically, a lot of folks, one of their biggest issues is eating at night, which is binging at nighttime. There's two reasons why we do that. One is very related to the weekend, but two, there's another reason, is that our bodies, it takes more food to where we feel a level of satiety as the day goes on. Meaning that, that bowl of oatmeal in the morning that we had, where it allows us to feel full in the morning, gets us to feel somewhat full at lunch, but hardly at all at dinner. Like it takes more food, more volume in general as the day goes on. And so that's why, we're already accustomed to wanting to eat more as the night goes on. But where folks really run into the issue is that, they're intermittent fasting because they ate so much. They had all ice cream, all kinds of just nonsense the night before. And they're doing the same thing. They're restricting so hard the next day. They're not even hungry whatsoever until 2:00. They think they're making up for it. But like clockwork, especially if it's sugar related, the body, the cells, like they're always going to win. Because they're, the bacteria and the cells in our body, there's so much, they are in control of everything. They will get their simple sugar fixed no matter what, especially if you have been restricting all day. And if that food is within your environment and those cravings start to kick in, it's a lost cause. You're going for it, and you'll be stuck in that same cycle day in and day out.
Game over. Yeah, no,
it is.
The big takeaway is that what you said there, take leadership of your own life. That is a good one. But also your tagline of it's never too late. I think there's a lot of people get lost in that. They think it's, this is who I am. I can't change. People won't let me change. People might not like me if I change, or even if they see me trying to change. You know, there are people out there that will try and pull you back because they don't like seeing you maybe changing for the better.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. There's and that goes into, it's not even just vibrant wellness of change. It's, folks are stuck in lots of different areas of their life and lifestyle of, this is just who I am. This is just what I'm doing this job, doing this X, and the message transcends all that, that you can do something different. And, we hope to be a part of that community of being one of the leading voices out there to, say that, no matter what it is that you're trying to do, it's not too late to overcome it.
Yeah. Well, your story and your images and everything that you do it tells that story, and I understand why people are following you and people are doing what you're saying, because you're the evidence.
We're trying. And I'm just a regular dad like yourself. And if I can do it, anyone can.
And you're in Austin. Are you in Austin, Texas?
Austin, yeah.
That seems to be the place. It's all going off with Joe Rogan moving into town and a lot more tech and everything happening. It's all busy. Is Austin the place to be?
It is. Now it's expensive.
Really?
It's it's not. Austin was ranked. It was like the number one city in the world in terms of housing pricing being like overpriced. Like they're priced 50% or something more than what they should be.
Wow. It's
not the most expensive place to live. Not even in terms of cost of living and wages, but it's up there.
It's up there. And is that just a lot of people trying to get out of California and things like that and following Rogan and the way he talks about
following Rogan? Yeah. Tesla is opening up headquarters. Facebook is here. Apple is here. All those Silicon Valley companies here. People are moving their. Texas is a very business friendly state, and it's not just Austin. It's Dallas, Houston. Everyone's coming here, and it's pretty great environment if you could take the heat. I love Texas. I love Austin. I still have yet to. I originally grew up in Florida. I grew up on the river, St. John's River. I'm a river rat growing up, and unless you know what that's like, it's hard to replace that feeling. So, I'm still kind of. I've been here now 12 years. I still have yet to feel like it's 90, 100% home. But it's a great place though. Awesome food, awesome people, energy.
That's what you want. Eric, well, here, I really appreciate you joining me. And I know I reached out of nowhere, but you guys got straight back in touch. And big thanks to Andy for setting this up for us.
For sure.
For
sure. No, go ahead.
No, and thank you for checking out my stuff and for complimenting on what I get up to and what I do. So it's really appreciated.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. When you reached out, of course, we got to do our homework and see what you're all about. And the guests that you had on your show, I mean, you got an incredible thing going on there. And I want to help you continue to help that story grow and help you reach other audiences. And so I can't wait to, see what, the end result of this podcast to help push it out to other voices. And we love our clients. And we have folks in Scotland and, when we do our weekly check-in calls, it's just like this.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's like clients in other countries, we're talking just like this, talking about improving their life. It's just wild. I do this on a regular basis here, Scotland, United Arab Emirates, Germany, Russia, just being face to face. Like here we are.
It's a similar feeling that I get with the podcast and speaking to people that are all over the world.
Yeah.
You end up staying in touch. You end
awesome.
up sharing podcasts. You end up sharing books, all sorts of stuff. It's cool. I really like it. The community is great. So congratulations to you. I wish you every success with whatever comes and into next year. And thank you for joining me.
Likewise, man. Thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate that. And maybe we do it again sometime.
That'd be cool. All the best.
Yeah. Thanks, man.